Nothing endures without harmony. And harmony only endures through us. We are unmoving like the mountain. We will not be drowned by the raging river. Behold the wonders of the Celestial Dragon Empire. The might of our warriors. The secrets of our alchemists. The sorcery of the dragon-blooded. Vanquish chaos with the sheer power of the dragon. Let them face the majesty of Grand Cathay.
Legend of Total War here, and today I thought we'd touch base on Total War Warhammer 3. It's been a while since I've talked about it because I haven't been live streaming lately, so nobody's had a chance to chat to me live about it. And Creative Assembly was kind enough to give me this this trailer in early access, just a little bit, so I had some time to look over it. So I thought I'll give my thoughts on things so far. I don't have a lot of things to talk about because there really isn't that much to talk about, in my opinion, because at this stage here, we really don't have much to go off in terms of gameplay. I do get very fatigued with CA's marketing strategy for Warhammer 3. I don't get angry at it, I just get like bored of it because it comes down to trailers and blogs, and I can only handle so many trailers and blogs before I just start clocking off because I'm just going to wait for gameplay. And I get that a lot of people are hyped by the trailers. I'm just not one of those people that get hyped from trailers. I want to know what the game is actually going to be like. And we just haven't really got any serious indication from that yet because we had the gameplay reveal back in like March, but that was like a tech demo, and that was kind of that, I don't know, there was problems with that, I think, and that wasn't really indicative of how the game is actually going to play, because it's like the final battle, and I don't think that's a good way of seeing how Warhammer 3 is actually going to play. Now, in terms of the Cathay stuff, Cathay looks cool, definitely a faction that I want to play. To be honest, I want to play all the factions, even Corrin, who I'm probably the least hyped for. But Cathay looks cool. There's some stuff in here that seems very similar. Like if we come over to about here, we can there it was. We can see the essentially Hailstorm rocket batteries here. We've got bat-winged instead of like bird-winged Pegasus Knights, melee infantry, archers, crossbows, are things that we've seen before. Dragons we've seen before. Big monsters like constructs we've seen before. So that's cool. We'll just, it's a lot of more of the same, and I don't have a problem with that. But there's just not a lot to talk about, I suppose. I think in terms of like potential Doomstacks for Cathay, if Doomstacks is even going to be a thing in Warhammer 3, which it might, we'll see. I think the Terracotta Warriors could be really good. Their only big weakness being their size, but they do seem to be fairly quick, at least as far as what these trailers see. And when we look at the back end of this, if we go back to here, and we see this Terracotta Warrior here fighting, he does seem to be doing a pretty good job and has some pretty cool like abilities. So that's cool. We'll just have to see it. Like I said, a lot of this is just not gameplay. This is trailer. It's all just meant to look cool. Got the pink horrors of Cinch over there. I'm way more hyped for Cinch stuff than I am for Cathay. And I think it's also really important to note that a lot of these rosters that are being revealed are really bare bones, because this is just the base game factions. These are going to be fleshed out over the course of the next few years, provided Warhammer 3 does well. That's another thing to keep in mind as well. If Warhammer 3 bombs, which is very low chance, but if it bombs, CA will just drop it and just move on to the next project. That's like really, really low chance of that occurring. At least I really hope it's low. But yeah. Hopefully, I'm really hoping that the game has a good release, so I hope they've got everything in order. There was definitely a few concerns in terms of the gameplay reveal back ages ago. Now, in terms of other things that we can see on this trailer, this appears to be the one of potentially 3 to 5 battle maps that will occur at the Great Bastion. Now, which is essentially the Great Wall of China, but in the Warhammer world, because China is Cathay, or Cathay is China in this. Except it's like dialed to 11, where the walls are possibly even larger than the wall from Wall of Ice from Game of Thrones, because the actual wall from the Great Wall of China would be about this size down here, which looks absolutely tiny in comparison to this. This is ridiculously high, but that's just how things go in Warhammer. Now, in terms of the actual playable area that you can play on this map, assuming that this is what we're going to get in Warhammer 3, which may or may not be the case, I would say that this here is the map, and that this all here is just decoration as it's always been. I know that people have been expecting a lot with the Siege rework, because it was announced a long time ago that there would be a Siege rework, but this is a monumental task for them to fix this massive screw-up that they did back in Warhammer 1, because they've just been building and building on top of a bad foundation. There's just so many battle maps that are terrible for Sieges, and are they going to go in and just like fix all of them for all races in Warhammer 3? That's a monumental task, and something that it's not unheard of for Creative Assembly to do that, but something that I would be wary of expecting them to do it. Now, in terms of the layout here, it does look very similar to Helmgart, and I imagine that every single Bastion map is probably exactly the same. So, in terms of how I imagine how it works on the campaign map, is that this is, the northern border of Grand Cathay, and that all over this side here is actually like the Chaos Waste. They're coming down. Sinch is coming down to attack to move into Cathay, and then every settlement, minor settlement and major settlement, will be very different from this. But in terms of how this map would play out in terms of the battles, would be pretty much identical to Helmgart, which I don't have a problem with. Those are okay sieges. Because you don't just rely on choke points. There's also raised up areas where you can shoot from that aren't just you don't just rely on the walls. But one of the big problems with sieges is that walls are stupid to defend, because they actually offer no advantage in most cases, because they don't give you a defensive bonus, and then the AI charge up on the walls or whatever, and then the only real benefit to holding the walls is for the towers to be shooting. But once the units have already reached the towers, then the towers don't shoot anyway, so why hold on to it? Just move on to the choke points, which is way better defensive position, because you use combined arms of melee infantry and missile units to pin enemy units down and shoot them. So this is why maps such as the Black Crag are really good, because they really thrive in those sort of combined arms areas. Whereas maps such as Altdorf is actually really bad, because there's so many different choke points and ways to get into the town square, and the town square is so close to the walls, it gives you less freedom to move around and defend your position. And the AI always does the same thing regardless of what settlement type it is. I always try to defend the walls like it's the end of the world if they lose it. So they'll just keep throwing more and more units up on the walls for you to just keep killing. So, you just put all of your troops over here, so that none of these towers here shoot, destroy these two towers, and then just bombard them until the army losses. Which, if there's any indication of this is what the layout's going to be like, that's probably how they're going to go down. Maybe. Who knows? Another thing that they could be doing, but again, it's just a trailer, so we have to take it with a pinch of salt, is that maybe they're going to extend the deployment zone out for the defender, so they can actually defend, like, outside the walls, so that you can actually hold back enemy troops from getting to the walls, so that the towers could actually do a lot more. Another thing that they could be doing, and again, there's no indication that is going to be the case, but actually have towers inside the settlement that are able to shoot once you've lost the walls or given up the walls or whatever. That could be quite useful, but again, that presents problems as well. This is the big thing with sieges. Sieges are a very complex thing to deal with, and that any tweak that they do has positives and negatives to it, and it really comes down to, doesn't matter if they make 360-degree sieges, like layered walls with loads of layers of walls, deployment zones, huge maps, none of that matters if the AI doesn't actually behave correctly during those sieges. Currently, because of how simple they are, the AI always does the basic thing without cheesing, because you shouldn't program your AI to cheese your own game. It's bad enough that they cheat as much as they do. But having the AI hug the walls and just hug the edge of the map and just try to cheese it the way that I do it, for example, that wouldn't have been a good idea. So they need to design the sieges to be so that the way that the AI behaves is the optimal way to do it, but also to not be like super cheesy and frustrating to play. Because at the end of the day, this is supposed to be fun. If it's not fun, why bother getting it? And that's a big thing that CA needs to tackle, and I'm sure they're aware of that. And it's a monumental task. So I don't envy their job of trying to fix sieges. It's always been a problem in every single Total War game. It's just really, really bad in Warhammer. So that's really all I have to say, I guess, in terms of the siege stuff with this so far. I'm sure we're going to get more detailed stuff coming soon with sieges, but I can't really comment on that until I actually know a little bit more. I don't know anything more than you guys do at this point here. You know, these trailers, they're cool and everything, but I'm really fatigued with just more trailers. I need to see some gameplay soon, or else I'm just going to clock off and just get bored. People have also been wondering about live streams and when they're going to return. At first, I was only going to take a couple of days off, and then I thought, oh no, I should probably take like a week off. And then I took a week off. And honestly, I've had 2 weeks off now from live stream. I've still been making videos. I've had 2 really good weeks off. The channel's actually doing really well without me live streaming. It's actually quite funny. It's doing better than it was when I was live streaming. And that's cutting out 6 to 8 hours of like difficult to work hours, because I would live stream during the night and go to bed in the morning and sleep during the day. I've currently been sleeping during the night, which has been really nice, because I didn't realize how like unhealthy I was until now, because I'm not having sleeping issues like I was before, because I was just sleeping during the day, which is not ideal. So returning to live streaming at this point, I will do it at some point. I just don't know when, because everything's going really well on the channel. I don't really have any desire to return to live streaming. I'm kind of not burnt out of Warhammer 2. I'm still, I love doing the tier lists. Those are great. And still doing, you know, good disaster battles and stuff like that every now and again. So do keep sending them in. I'll keep trying to get them done. But as for doing new campaigns, I've actually been doing a few campaigns just in my own time, and it's just been really good actually to play a campaign without having to worry about, oh no, is this getting enough views? Is this going to kill my channel, or any of that kind of stuff? Which is what I always have to worry about. This is why we abandoned campaigns like after episode 2, because people just don't turn up for it. So I've been able to have like longer campaigns where I just do whatever I want, and that's been enjoyable. And so I've been playing the game, I just haven't been live streaming it, and I think that's how we'll just do things for a little bit longer. So I will definitely return to live streaming. I just don't know when. I do miss you guys, but now's not yet the time to come back. Primarily because I don't have anything interesting to show you guys for live streams. I know that many of you guys will counter that with, why not try this? Why not try that? Have you thought about playing this mod? Have you thought about playing that mod? Yes to all of the above, and also I don't want to do any of that. So I've thought about all of that, but I don't want to do it. So I think it's really important that when I do live streams that I enjoy what I'm doing, and I feel like if I come back, it's just going to be the same monotonous shit that I've been doing for 6 months straight, and I'll just get pissed off again. And I think people have been really enjoying the content that I've been making lately, so we'll just keep things running. We've got a good thing going at the moment. We'll keep things going a bit longer this way, and I'm sure live streams will come back in a bit, but I just don't have anything like interesting to do at the moment, so we'll see how we go in the future. Anyway, that's the end of this one here. Let me know your thoughts on Warhammer 3 and also on the live streaming potential delay, I guess, of me coming back. And I'll see you guys soon. Appreciate you guys, and I'll see you next time, fuckers. Bye.